Hi. This question is taken from CHIJ, St. Nicholas Girls School, 2022 Mid-Year Assessment, question 17. And it says, in box A, the ratio of the number of English books to the number of Chinese books was 2:1. In box B, the ratio of the number of English books to the number of Chinese books was 3:2. There were 5 times as many books in box B as in box A. So what was the ratio of the number of English books in box A to the number of English books in box B? Leave your answer in its simplest form. So this question has got many pieces of information. The first piece of information is with regards to box A. We have English books to Chinese books 2:1. So what I would suggest is to actually put it down under box A. Here we have English books to Chinese books 2:1. Okay, and on the other hand, we have box B, ratio of English to Chinese books 3:2. Next is a very crucial information. 5 times as many books in B as compared to A. So when we talk about the number of books in B, we are looking at the total number, which means English and Chinese books combined. That means in terms of the ratio, we will have to add one more component, and that will be the component of total. I'll put it as T. So in total, the units for English and Chinese books in box B would make 5, and that of box A would make 3. How are we going to make it such that the total units for B is 5 times compared to A? So here is where we need to consider something called equivalent ratio. What's an equivalent ratio of box A books as well as box B books, such that when we compare both totals, A is 1/5 of B? So I looked at the numbers here, 3 and 5. My 5 units here could become 15 units. Yeah. What could I do to make it look to make it 15 units? I could multiply it by 3 to form an equivalent ratio. So that would make 9:6:15. Okay, and in comparison, you realize that the total units of books for box B is now 15, and the total units of books in A is actually 3. We can see here that 3 is indeed 1/5 of 15. This leaves us to compare this ratio of books and this ratio. The units here are of the same size, now that the proportion of the total is 1:5. Okay, now looking at this, what's the ratio of the number of English books in A? So number of English books in A, that would mean we are looking at this to the number of English books in B. Yes. Therefore, our answer would be 2:9. Subsequently, when 45 Chinese books were taken out of B, the ratio of the number of English books to the number of Chinese books in box B became 6:1. Find the total number of books in box B at first. Okay, let's look at what's the keywords here. 45 Chinese, not English, but Chinese books were taken out from box B. The ratio of English to Chinese in B became 6:1. What does this mean? This means that there is actually no change to the number of English books in box B. So English books in B remains the same. All right, so there's no mention of box A here. Looks like the question just needs to focus on information with regards to B. I'm going to come up with two sets of ratio. The first ratio will be that of the books in B with regards to English to Chinese. So English to Chinese books in B would be 3:2. And where did I get that information from? Well, that information is actually taken from here. This is the initial information that was given in the question. And after books were taken out, the ratio changed and it became 6:1. What remains the same is the number of English books. So if number of English books remains the same, by right, the units for English books should remain the same, right? So now we notice that in the two ratios, the units for English books are not the same. So we have to find an equivalent ratio of the before ratio, such that when we multiply 3:2 twice over, you'll end up as units for English books becoming 6. So that will make 6:4. Now that the units for English books are the same, we can make a comparison. Now, 45 Chinese books were taken out. So before it's been taken out, we have 4 units of Chinese books. After that, we have 1 unit of Chinese books. So the difference would be 45. Hence, 4 units take away 1 unit would make 45. So 3 units makes 45. 1 unit would be 45 divided by 3, which makes 15. All right, now that we have 1 unit being 15, how do we find the total number of books in box B at first? So, in the first place, box B has got how many units? Perhaps what we can do also is to actually see how many units box B has at the end. We can look here. Okay, that makes 7 units, right? So method 1, we could see that at the end of the day, box B has got 7 units. So 7 units of books will be 7 times 15. That makes 105. And we add back 45. We get 150. That's the answer. Another method is that since we know 1 unit is 15, at the start of the day, total units of English and Chinese books make up 10. So therefore, you could easily have found it through taking 10 units. So 10 times 15 gives you 150. So either way would give you the correct answer. Yeah, so this is how we work out this question.